Now, I'd like to take a moment and tell you about why I choose to invest my time in the Asheville Downtown Association and the alignment that this organization shares with another organization that is very near and dear to my heart, the YMCA of Western North Carolina. I've spent my entire career with the Y because I believe in our mission to deliver programs that build a healthy spirit, mind, and body for all. As the Vice President of Operations, I'm happy to share that the Y is so much more than a place for people to work out and make friends. We also provide after-school childcare, fresh, healthy foods, summer camp, teen programs, and support for people with chronic conditions. The Asheville Y has been downtown for 135 years, and we hope to be here for at least 135 more. However, the needs are great, and our current space downtown is limited. That's why, with community and donor support, we plan to build a new Asheville facility to support the health and well-being of downtown employees, businesses, residents, and visitors. Like the Asheville Downtown Association, the Y is committed to a safe and thriving downtown. We believe that when people can afford to live, work, and play downtown, everyone wins. We have big, bold dreams for a happier, healthier downtown, and we invite you to aspire with us to make that a reality. Now, I'd like to introduce the person who is guiding the future of the Asheville Downtown Association. Before joining us about 8 months ago, Hayden Plemons served as the Senior Director of Operations at the Downtown Denver Partnership, a dynamic, member-based organization and business improvement district dedicated to advancing downtown Denver as a vibrant and thriving city center. Please join me in welcoming Hayden to her very first Asheville Downtown Association State of Downtown.
Thank you all. What a welcome. I really appreciate it. It wasn't our goal to get you boozed up downstairs and then bring you into the state of downtown today. Thanks so much, Jessica. I really appreciate it. And good afternoon, downtown Asheville. Thank you all for taking the time to join us for the annual State of Downtown. Today's event is about being informed and inspired by all of the fantastic things happening in downtown Asheville. I know you enjoyed the delicious food from some of Asheville's best: Bear's Barbecue, Good Hot Fish, La Bodega Bacurate, and South Slope Cheese. Yes. I hope you had time to chat with our nonprofit partner, The People's Place, and hear about their ongoing efforts in downtown, and enjoyed music by DJ Molly Party and Magenta Sunshine's Jay Widenhouse. And how fun is this space? A big thank you to Burial Beer Co. and Eulogy for hosting us today. Thanks to their team. And I'd also like to thank our presenting sponsor today, Grove Arcade Public Market Foundation, for making this event possible. Thank you all. To continue the thanks, of course, First Bank is our keynote speaker and our keynote speaker sponsor, and our table sponsors, McGuire Wood & Bissett and YMCA. Last, I'd like to extend a heartfelt thanks to the Board of Directors at the Asheville Downtown Association. If you're not already, can I ask you folks to stand up? Let's do it. Awesome. This group exemplifies dedication. You guys are with it with applause. I love it. This group exemplifies dedication and commitment to the prosperity of downtown with a forward-thinking approach that drives the strategic direction of our organization. Their insights and unwavering support have been instrumental in shaping the future of Asheville's downtown. It's through their vision and leadership that this organization continues to evolve, ensuring we meet the needs of all of our downtown stakeholders. So today, we have a fantastic presentation lined up for you. Of course, remarks from City of Asheville Mayor Esther Mannheimer, County Commission Chair Brownie Newman, and my friend Jaron Price, the President and CEO of the Downtown Washington, D.C. Business Improvement District. But as Jessica mentioned, first things first, let's talk about the Asheville Downtown Association. If you haven't noticed, it looks a little bit different than it did last year. Thanks to the support of our board and our dedicated stakeholders, we've undergone a strategic realignment process, resulting in a new look and feel for the organization. We're pleased to have worked with two local firms, Miller Integrated Marketing and Hella Creative, on this visual identity rebrand. Let's give them a round of applause. With this effort, we've been working to confirm our key priorities and renew our commitment to our stakeholders. Over the next year, you'll see the Downtown Association take a look at evaluating all of our program areas, taking a data-driven approach to determine what best serves this community. We're going to be dedicating our time to more member outreach and continuing to advocate for a downtown Asheville that is safe, beautiful, and accessible to all people. But there's one thing that has not changed. Since 1987, the Asheville Downtown Association has been and will continue to be the voice of downtown. But how do we determine what guides our work? We turn to all of you, our members, and our downtown stakeholders through the Downtown Annual Survey. This year we received more than 400 responses, so let's get to it. We had 410 responses, with 67% of folks identifying themselves as downtown business or property owners, employees, or residents. 25% identified exclusively as visitors, customers, or guests of downtown. 12% were other, but they left in the comments that they mostly are residents of the adjoining neighborhoods, adjacent neighborhoods. So we asked folks to rank key issues in order of their impact in downtown. And as you can see, safety and reducing criminal activity and cleanliness are the top two concerns, followed by parking. But this was a dramatic shift from last year, where you'll see in 2023, when reducing homelessness and improving access to homelessness resources ranked as the most pressing concern. Changes here too. In 2023, 78% of people had employees or customers express concerns for their personal safety. That number has dropped to 56% this year, with the primary safety issues being illegal or nuisance behavior, including panhandling, trespassing, and noise. So we asked folks, how safe do you feel in downtown during the day? And overwhelmingly, 90% of respondents felt neutral to very safe during the day. That number is up about 12% from last year. We then asked, how safe do you feel at night? The numbers dropped significantly here. Only 55% of people feel neutral to very safe in downtown at night, but those numbers are still up 21% from last year. So what caused the shift? Over the last year, the Asheville Downtown Association, in partnership with the Chamber of Commerce and Explore Asheville, worked to convene leaders across downtown to highlight the urgent need for action. It's because of that collaboration and working with the City of Asheville that the 60-Day Initiative was launched in May. The initiative's success was not only in its immediate impact, but also how it set a precedent for ongoing attention to downtown and the continuation of these efforts, taking a data-driven approach to monitor these shifts and perception of safety. Thanks to a grant from the Trina Mullen Foundation, the Downtown Association was able to install holiday lights in Pritchard Park during the winter months. Not only were the lights beautiful and festive, they were a mechanism to increase the perception of safety at night. Suspicious activity calls in and around Pritchard Park were reduced by 50% during the same time last year. Additionally, the Asheville Downtown Association recognizes the power of activating our public spaces to foster a sense of community and public safety. By organizing free, family-friendly events In spaces like North Lexington Avenue and in Pritchard Park, we've transformed these spaces into vibrant hubs of activity, drawing in residents and visitors alike. We believe it will take a multifaceted approach to address the perception of safety in downtown. The city's safety and cleanliness initiative, repair of 41 streetlights, addition of 24-hour security and parking services, and the joint initiative between APD and the Sheriff's Department are a fantastic start. But some of those efforts are temporary. We believe that as a result, the Asheville Downtown Association believes that a permanent solution to increase services in downtown is the implementation of a business improvement district. Not only would a business improvement district improve public safety, it would also increase services related to cleanliness and public health. We asked our respondents to rate the cleanliness of downtown, and last year, as you can see in 2023, 60% of respondents felt that the cleanliness in downtown was very poor to poor, and that number has dropped significantly to only 37% this year. The same number were neutral. However, less than 25% of people felt like cleanliness is good, and we'd like to be at excellent. Am I right? Y'all had all the applause earlier. Yes. A business improvement district would include litter and graffiti removal, street sweeping, year-round pressure washing, greening, and more. All of this on top of services provided by the city, not in place of. The next part of our survey addressed homelessness and housing insecurity. Overall, respondents felt that the city of Asheville and Buncombe County were not taking the appropriate steps to address homelessness, or at least they weren't communicating about it. At the Asheville Downtown Association, we believe our role here is to be the conduit for which our stakeholders can communicate with the city and vice versa. As such, we've taken place in studies such as the Missing Middle Housing Study and joined the Buncombe County Continuum of Care and reported out to our members through newsletters and member assemblies. So we asked our respondents which policy initiative would be most effective in reducing housing security. And no surprise, respondents felt that the development of workforce and affordable housing would be most effective in reducing housing insecurity in the city. Through our Building Our City speaker series, the Downtown Association hosted 6 national housing experts, including Greg Colburn, author of Homelessness is a Housing Problem, which convened partners from all over the city. Stakeholders also listed development of workforce and affordable housing as the most important investment initiative to the vitality of downtown, followed by management and maintenance of parks and public spaces. Also on the list for future investment in downtown was public realm enhancements, such as holiday lights, flower baskets, and pole banners. Late last year, the Asheville Downtown Association submitted a proposal to the city for management of those enhancement efforts and hope that that partnership, as well as the business improvement district, will lead to a downtown-wide beautification effort very soon. In conclusion, through our downtown stakeholder survey, we found there has been a significant improvement in perception of safety and cleanliness in downtown, but there's still a lot of work to do. Folks are eager to learn about solutions to the housing crisis and are interested in seeing investment in downtown across the board. With that, I'd like to introduce City of Asheville's Mayor Esther Manheimer.
Okay. Hey, they just told me I can't take this mic off, so I'm gonna have to stay in one place. I'll try to do that. Also, that wasn't my walkout song. But so far, this is truly awesome. I'm really appreciating the new venue. You guys are squeezing here like sardines, so it feels like we're all one big family, and I hope it stays that way. I want to thank the Downtown Association for hosting us this year and bringing all of you together as one here. And I want to thank all of you for participating in this, because what I think we've learned over the last several years is that we're not going to be able to be able to continue with improvements without strong partnerships. So the fact that you're here is a testament to that. So this is the annual State of Downtown. This has been years when this has been really fun, and then there were a few years where it really wasn't any fun, and it's getting fun again. So let's have some fun today. All right, downtown. Downtown is fun, and as I mentioned before, we couldn't do this without all of the partnerships that we have, and also from listening to all of you about what your concerns are, where we need to focus our energies, who we need to be collaborating with. So first, I'm going to talk about public safety. Now, I know Chief Lamb got the loudest cheers, but we also appreciate all of our other folks involved in public safety that are here too. But we are really excited to have Chief Lamb here because he's already been here for so long, and he's a part of our community. And we're already seeing the results of that, and we'll talk a little bit more about the strong partnerships that are happening with APD and others. But recruiting is a key factor for beefing up our APD. We've got a class there you're seeing of graduates from our basic law enforcement training. We've got others that are already in the pipeline, and then we also have lateral transfers. So that's we've seen an improvement there compared to how we've done historically. And this team here that you're seeing in the bottom right-hand corner isn't just a picture of a boring meeting. It is to demonstrate to you that this is a cross-departmental approach. So not just one department focused on safety for downtown. Again, and just, okay, you guys really want to clap for Chief Lamb, and I do too, and he's standing over there, so I'm looking at him. But one of the interesting things about Chief Lamb is he did come up through the department with our sheriff, Quentin Miller. So they spent a lot of time working together, and they're continuing that partnership today. Our firefighters are also in the mix when we talk about a cross-collaborative approach. So we have firefighters that are community responders now, and this is sort of in I would say the city's version of the county's version that you hear about around community paramedics. So you should be seeing our firefighters downtown who are trying to help folks who are in crisis, folks that need resources. It's also an alternative way to respond to these sorts of issues without always having to send a police officer. And this is our new fire chief, Chief Case, who's also here, right here in the back, and we welcome him. Our Chief Case started in January, correct? That's right. So we are glad to have our two new chiefs in place for the city. Okay, more on downtown public safety. So you may have seen our park warden in action. Anybody seen the park warden? Few people, all right. So this is, again, another approach to dealing with community safety issues. We also have hired a company to do security for all of our parking decks and parking lots. So that is a new change that just happened. And I'm trying to look here. I believe that contract started and somebody shouted out February. Okay. Somebody would be probably over in this area. If you are a City of Asheville employee, can you just stand up for a second? Just a minute, come on, just stand up. Right. Thank you. We have a team very focused on this, and they also help provide all this information. Cleanliness. So we have now 9 full-time public works employees devoted to downtown cleanliness. So again, with the cross-departmental collaboration here, you're seeing all the different departments that are involved in trying to manage the downtown, make sure that all of the different issues are met. So these folks are out there cleaning sidewalks and picking up trash, recycling, and also handling litter hotspots. You need to use your Asheville app to report litter hotspots that you see, and they can send folks out there to clean those up. And also biohazards. We have had to contract with companies that'll handle those kinds of cleaning challenges, if you will. So homelessness, you all said to us, you're not handling this correctly, and you're not handling it in a way where you're communicating across your community to be the most effective you can. The city and the county engaged the National Alliance to End Homelessness to kind of come in, do a full assessment of our situation, and then make a series of recommendations to us, which they have done. So we have had now 2 joint city council and county commission meetings to hear about these recommendations initially, then work together to implement them, and then to come back together and see where we are. I have personally been extremely involved in this process. I have toured every shelter in our city and our county. I've worked on the shelter group task force. I will be a member of the new COC, the Continuum of Care Board, that will be holistically looking at this issue. It is, to me, one of our greatest challenges that we've seen in the last several years. One thing that I have learned is we have a lot of people in Asheville that are incredible at what they do. They are providers with heart. They want the best for everyone in our community, but we don't always have strong communication between all those providers to make sure we're doing this effectively. Part of it is just because that's how the system works when it comes to addressing homelessness, mental health, addiction, all the various issues that we see. You have different disparate providers that are not necessarily connected. Some are state funded, some are federally funded, some are nonprofits, some are faith-based, and just bringing everyone together and making that a more effective machine, if you will, is half the battle. So we've talked a lot about a downtown public restroom, and more than I ever thought I ever would talk about a downtown public restroom. And I feel like I talked to you guys about downtown public restroom quite a lot. So we're getting a Portland loo. These are virtually indestructible because apparently people want to destroy bathrooms, and they do, and it's really expensive, and you have to clean them up and fix them and staff them, and it is a tremendous expense and a tremendous challenge. So we're going to try this Portland loo, and it's been very well studied. I know the price tag has given everyone a little bit of sticker shock. Please know that a lot of that price tag is because we have to bring sewer and water to this site, so it's more of an infrastructure issue. But these are, again, fairly indestructible and easy to clean and have lower costs in terms of managing them. So this will be next to the Rankin deck, and it's coming soon. The Pack Square Vision Plan. So we have received a Mellon grant in the amount of $3 million for, and let's just applaud Steph Munson-Dahl, who worked on this effort. Who's, if you don't know, been our planning director. It hasn't been a year yet, so I can still say you're a new planning director. That's right. And so this will be, this grant is going to be used to create improvement and connection to the block and cultural activation and public space improvements. The grant will also pay for design engineering plans to redesign Pack Square Plaza in partnership with Buncombe County to and also to expand oral history programs. So that's a really exciting opportunity for us. Outdoor dining, so we beta tested this during COVID, as did a lot of cities, and we've made these changes now permanent so folks can utilize outdoor dining opportunities. Yay, yes. Parking garage improvements. So finally, the parking garages are working again in terms of listing how many spaces are available in them in real time and having signage. Also, on your Asheville app, if you ever use it, you can open it up and it will tell you in real time how many parking spaces are available in city and county decks. So that is exciting. Now, we do have, if you haven't heard already, we have a lot of costs associated with repairing our parking decks. We are spending $11 million to bring 3 of our older parking decks up to snuff, but they're going to need some longer term investment. And here's where I'm going to pause and just say a couple words to you about taxes. So in North Carolina, we cities don't keep much sales tax. We get some, but not very much. Most of it goes to the state to fund the state budget. And we have to rely on property taxes. And we have a room tax here, and we appreciate all of the incredible hard work that the Tourism Development Authority does under their statutory mandate, which allows for the city, county, and nonprofits to apply for up to a third of that money for mostly infrastructure-related projects. That's been awesome. McCormick Field is happening with monies like that, really important for investment in our community. However, if you like to wonk out on tax structures and cities that rely on tourism, like ours, we have grown to where we're a little out of whack. We don't get to leverage as a city the room tax. We don't have a food and beverage tax. And we don't yet have a bid. So there isn't a real effective way to harness visitor spending to improve infrastructure in our downtown. Conversely, say you were a Charleston, South Carolina, and you had a food and beverage tax, and you had a room tax that you could use to pay for a downtown police force, like they do. So it's a totally different taxing structure in North Carolina, and it hamstrings cities, and Asheville even more so, because we're not able to capture those monies to invest in our city, and we feel like we're always kind of behind and a little bit broke and not paying for capital infrastructure needs as quickly and as we need to, and we're not able to pay our wages to our city employees as competitively as we'd like to, even though we're very laser focused on doing that. So I don't know if anyone's ever thought about this challenge, but it's becoming more and more of a challenge as we see the shift in North Carolina. I have raised this issue with legislators. They seem to be aware of it. And I have had many meetings with other mayors who are trying to pursue tax revenue to support their cities too, because they're facing that same problem in their cities. So I just wanted to pause and point out that challenge. And I'm very excited about the opportunity again to try for a bid here in Asheville. It happened several years ago, and it was a little bit, there was a valiant effort by some who were very much behind it, but now this time I feel like with the chamber supporting it and trying to get everyone's opinion about it and working with the city carefully as we move through this process, we've hopefully set ourselves up for success. So that will eventually come to the council for a vote, and then if that is approved, it will be funded, and you will have a bid board who will manage those funds and decide how those are spent. Okay, stormwater. This project is not yet done. You've probably been inconvenienced by it in traffic, but very, very necessary to manage the stormwater situation that we're seeing. So this, I've already heard from property owners who have said, oh, my parking lot used to flood after a big rain and now it's not. So thanks to this project in part. We're also doing a Sidewalk Avenue accessibility improvement project, which is sidewalk scaping, replacing trees, and repairing the sidewalk. This is not far from where we are. This project, I believe, started on March 12th, so hopefully it won't take too long. We're also doing a Patton Avenue corridor feasibility study with the I-26 bridge project, not too far away, even though the bids came in like $300 million over budget. Once the state finds the funds and awards that contract, we'll see a new bridge coming across downtown Asheville, where the Jeff Bowen Bridge is now. And so the city is preparing for that, and the return of Patton Avenue as a boulevard and a gateway entry into the downtown. So this study will help us make sure the land use is all lined up with what we need to be able to see as we transition into that project. The city bought the land next to the transit station here in downtown for the hopeful future expansion of the transit, improvement and expansion of the transit station, but in a mixed-use format, like you might see in other cities where you have, say, apartments on top of a transit center. That's some type of a mixed-use development. So this is in the very early stages, but we went ahead and acquired the land in preparation for that. Hopefully you all just parked in this new private deck. Anybody parked there? Yes? All right. So we want to thank Tribute. We want to thank Tribute for at least for now, allowing everyone to use this deck here on Cox. And it's funny, I was reading an article about folks saying we need more parking down here, and then all of a sudden Tribute decided to open this deck. Now we do hope in the future the rest of Tribute's project happens, but for now we have this deck to use. Thomas Wolfe Auditorium. So this is underway. There is a task force meeting to strategize about how best to redo Thomas Wolfe and what all the various options are. This has been a performing arts center has been an ongoing discussion for Asheville. Anyone involved ever in that discussion? Yes. For a long time. It predates my time, and I have heard this discussion for a very long time. But some things that have changed is that Thomas Wolfe needs a complete redo, if you will. And also the efforts around a separate performing arts center have, for all intents and purposes, stalled out. So we're coming together to see what we can make happen. In the meantime, Thomas Wolfe just reopened and is fully booked and has had some repairs done to bathrooms and painting and seats and things like that. So it's operational for now, and it's going to have several concerts. Ryan Adams, anybody? Bonnie Raitt, Bare Naked Ladies, the A.C. Reynolds Memorial Day concert. So those are going to be some of the things that are happening there. This is the council's in the middle of our budget process. Feels like we're in the middle of our budget process most of the time, but this is where we are in that process. We are going to be this year discussing putting another bond package on the ballot in November. So in 2016, you all overwhelmingly passed 3 bonds for Parks and Rec, transportation, and affordable housing. And we're going to look at putting another bond package on the ballot come this fall to continue working on the various needs that we've got throughout the city. And this is how you can stay in the know. All right. And thank you.
Hey, good afternoon. I'm Brownie Newman. I'm the chair of the County Commission. Great to be with you all today. And thank you for the opportunity to share some updates on some of the county initiatives in our downtown community. The city and the county do work on a lot of the issues facing downtown together, so some of these have already been touched on in the mayor's presentation. So one of our initiatives this past year has been to provide discounted parking passes for downtown service workers in our county parking garages. We started the initiative providing monthly parking passes for downtown workers in our Cox Avenue garage across from the post office and transit station. And then we've now expanded the program to also include the county's College Street parking garage as well. The program offers service workers and other downtown workers monthly parking passes for $40 a month. We started off offering 200 monthly passes at this discounted rate, and there are still 57 available. So if you know anyone who might be interested, please encourage them to check out the county's website for more details on this. I also, before moving on, I also wanted to mention that more details will be coming out on this soon, but the county is also going to soon be opening up several of the county's surface parking decks for free parking on Sundays, but the details still haven't been hammered out on which parking lots will be included. So stay tuned for more information on that as that gets rolled out, I think, in the very near future. So one of the major areas of focus this year for the county has been the collaboration with the Sheriff's Office around strategies to increase public safety in downtown. Traditionally, the role of the Sheriff's Office in Buncombe County, and this is true for counties and sheriff's offices across North Carolina, is to provide law enforcement patrol services in the unincorporated areas of the county, as municipalities, including, of course, Asheville, Black Mountain, Weaverville, and the others, all operate their own city and town police departments, which provide those services within their city and town limits. But I want to express my appreciation to Sheriff Quentin Miller and the leadership of the Asheville Police Department for their work this year to engage with members of the downtown community and consider new approaches to enhancing downtown safety. Sheriff Miller held several meetings with members of the downtown community, including both business owners and downtown workers, to hear their concerns and ideas around public safety. Emerging from these meetings and engagement with leadership at APD, the sheriff announced plans to assign officers to work on a new downtown foot patrol initiative. The collaboration features sheriff's officer deputies and APD officers working together on Friday and Saturday evenings from 7 p.m. to 3 a.m. in downtown. One of the reasons for including the later hours has been the concern expressed by downtown workers who get off work after midnight and need to walk to their cars or walk home when there are a lot fewer eyes on the street. At our January 17th meeting, the commissioners approved additional funding for the sheriff's office to implement this initiative. The sheriff has emphasized his intent to evaluate the results so that they can learn from what's working best and make adjustments going forward to best meet the needs of the community going forward. In addition to the partnership with APD, the county is also supporting greater collaboration between the sheriff's office and our county EMS services. Starting last summer, the sheriff's office began working closely with our community paramedic program to develop a co-responder unit that provides acute crisis intervention and follow-up support to community members experiencing behavioral health challenges. This coordinated approach utilizes trauma-informed public safety responses and connection to public health resources to help people in need. The co-responder unit increases public safety, coordinates the approach, and defines root cause solutions by providing appropriate responses to people who may be experiencing an overdose, mental health crisis, and/or substance use disorder. Deploying licensed mental health professionals contracted by EMS and the Buncombe County Sheriff's Office, and answering calls for service and attempting to divert individuals from the criminal justice system while creating a linkage to resources and support. The creation and build out of the community paramedics team has been one of the county's top priorities over the last 2 years. On December 5th, as was mentioned earlier, the City Council and the County Commission held another joint meeting to review the recommendations of the Within Reach report to address homelessness. The plan recommended several important changes and new strategies, including specific plans to achieve a 50% reduction in unsheltered homelessness by 2025. To achieve these goals, the county is working with the city, and the county has approved plans and committed funds to preserve and expand shelter spaces. These include supporting the Salvation Army to maintain its existing 45 beds, plus add 20 new ones. The Safe Shelter Collaborative, which will rotate 20 new shelter beds between Grace Episcopal Church, Grace Lutheran Church, and Trinity United Methodist Church. And the Haywood Street congregation will add 3 additional beds for those who need medical care, behavioral health, or substance abuse support services. As we explore these longer-term solutions, the county also supports immediate needs, such as the operation of Code Purple to assure that everyone has a safe place to stay on cold winter nights, just like last night. We are excited to see the Compass Point project come forward and come online at the former Days Inn Hotel, which is now providing permanent supportive housing to 87 formerly chronically homeless individuals in our community. The county, as of course the city, and many others have been partners on this project, and I just want to express our appreciation to all of the people who have worked for years to turn this idea into reality. A great job, and it's going to make a huge difference to our community. All right, and another key recommendation of the Within Reach report is the creation of a low barrier, high access shelter in our community. As proposed, the shelter would be around 50,000 square feet with 100 non-congregate, private enclosed bedrooms and 50 additional congregate beds. The shelter is envisioned as staying open 24/7, would allow pets, serve families, and provide transportation assistance to residents. I know that the creation of a low barrier shelter is not something that there is a complete consensus on in our community, and I think the discussions around this and the debate can be constructive. But one of the things that's persuaded me about the value of a high access shelter, that the value it would provide, is hearing from the community paramedics and why they believe this is necessary. Claire Hubbard, the director of community paramedics, has said, "Until we have a place to bring people, the most effective thing we can do to manage a crisis is to spend time with that person until they're no longer in crisis." And of course, the city and county are working together to explore potential options, potential locations for a low barrier shelter. No specific location has been committed to or definitively identified at this time. And we're aware there will need to be a significant investment to both create and operate such a facility. All right. The last item I wanted to touch on, one of the other major initiatives for the county this year has been to advance plans for redevelopment of multiple county-owned properties focused on affordable and workforce housing. 2 of these properties are in downtown, and the one that is advancing first is 50 and 52 Cox Avenue, which is located across the street from the post office and the transit center. These parcels include the Blue Metal building that used to be the gymnastics facility and has served as county elections offices in recent years, and the adjoining parking lots in the small building that used to be the Mountain First Bank location. The county has retained the Development Finance Initiative Group from the UNC School of Government to lead plans for redevelopment of these public-owned properties in the heart of downtown. Redevelopment goals for the property include maximizing the number of new apartments affordable to low and moderate income households in a mixed income setting, inclusion of active ground floor uses that serve residents and commuters and increase pedestrian traffic along Cox Avenue, maintaining direct and safe access from Cox Avenue to Church Street for pedestrians and cyclists, and balancing the maximum density and with a pedestrian-friendly design that extends the vibrant urban landscape from Patton Avenue down here into the South Slope. And I think this is my last slide. There are 2 alternative development scenarios that have been created at this point, both of which are mixed-use projects. The county held some recent community input sessions in downtown around these 2 options to get feedback. One would develop a portion of the property, would include 130 affordable apartments. Option 2 would be a more complete development of the property and would include 200 affordable apartments focused on providing an affordable option for our downtown workforce. These 200 units, all of them would be restricted and affordable long-term to households earning less than 80% AMI, including 26 units at 80%, 110 units at 60% AMI, 50% at 50% AMI or below, and 30% and 42 units at 30% AMI or below. This would be one of the most important new affordable residential focused projects in our downtown in a long, long time. The estimated public-private investment in the project is almost $60 million. We're estimating the county's investment in the project will be around $10 million, which is around $49,000 per unit. But for all those folks who work in building affordable housing in our community know that's actually like an excellent value. So we're really excited about this project. And it's, again, all these big mixed-use projects, they take a while to bring forward, but we think this is going to be, we need more housing in our downtown. As the folks who took this survey said, in the long term, the primary answer to so many of these challenges we face in our community is the need to bring online more housing and especially more affordable housing for our community and our workers. So thank you again all for the chance to be with you this morning. Really appreciate it. Great to see you.
Hello, I'm Chris Youngblood with First Bank. First Bank is proud to be a sponsor for our keynote speaker today. Quickly, I wanted to note that First Bank is always committed to Asheville and its heartbeat that we all call downtown. We continue to invest in many ways throughout the region and encourage our fellow citizens to do the same. Our team has invested dollars, hours, and time in our local student athletes, multiple area schools, local food banks, and events like the one today, and so much more. First Bank is proud to be a part of its community and will continue to support its growth and its development. Thanks again for allowing us to be involved. Now, today, for why you're all here. Our speaker today is Jaron Price of the Downtown DC Business Improvement District in Washington. That's a mouthful. Jaron Price brings to the Downtown DC bid more than 15 years of experience directing and supporting large-scale youth, workforce, and education programs and initiatives in the government and nonprofit sectors. Jaron joined the bid team as Director of Public Space Operations in 2018. Prior to bid, he served as Senior Associate for National Community Strategies at the Annie E. Casey Foundation. Jaron began his career managing a national youth mentoring program before serving in several capacities in the District of Columbia government, starting in the office of the Chancellor for DC Public Schools, then later serving as Director of Programs at the Department of Parks and Recreation, and as a Senior Policy Analyst in the Office of the Deputy Mayor for Education. At the DC Department of Employment Services, Jaron rose to hold the positions of Associate Director of the DOES Office of Youth Programs and Deputy Director of Youth Workforce Development. He also served as Deputy Director of Business Engagement and Intergovernmental Affairs and as the agency's Interim Director. Please join me in welcoming Jaron to the podium while thanking him for sharing his value expertise and talking to all of us and the stakeholders. Thank you.
Let me a second here just to adjust this microphone. Thank you so much to Chris and the team at First Bank. I sincerely appreciate being here today. It's truly an honor. I want to apologize for having you read that very long bio. Just reminded me I forgot to send the abbreviated version. I apologize, Hayden, and to all of you for having to suffer through that. But I sound like a great guy when you read all of that, so I'm actually feeling good. So I am truly, truly excited to be here. Greetings from the great District of Columbia, Washington, D.C., my hometown, my birthplace. I got some funny looks from folks when I said I was leaving D.C. To come down here to Asheville for this amazing event. Mainly because this is the prime time for tourism in DC right now. Those who know DC know that springtime is our best season because of the National Cherry Blossom Festival, of which the Downtown DC Business Improvement District is one of the premier sponsors. So very busy time, and as it turns out, because of the weather, peak bloom is actually happening today. So, and I'm missing it. But that's okay because I'm here at the Asheville Downtown, State of Downtown annual meeting, and I can think of no better place to be. So I'm truly, truly honored and excited to be here. We're prepping for the Cherry Blossom Parade, and one thing we believe in DC is that anytime you go to a place, so bring a little piece of DC with you. So I'm gonna do something a little out of the norm here, and y'all might think I'm kind of crazy for this, but I don't care, I'm gonna do it anyway. I'm gonna ask if you all can stand up. I'm going to share with you one of the chants that we use for our National Cherry Blossom Festival Parade. Because our team gets called often to many of the parades that we do, and we often have to chant and get the crowd excited. So I'm going to do the same thing here, but I'm going to need your help, okay? So bear with me. I know we have some really high-profile folks in the room, but I ask that you let loose a little bit on this one. So we have this thing that we do, and it gets a little loud, so I'm going to step back from the microphone, but we say, when I say downtown, you say DC, and you got to put your hands up just like that. So when I say downtown, you say DC. No. See, look, you got it wrong already. You got to wait until I say downtown. I'm going to tell you how to do it. When I say downtown, you say DC. Downtown. DC. Downtown. DC. I saw a little bit. We're going to try that one more time, a little louder. When I say downtown, you say DC. Downtown. DC. Downtown. DC. When I say downtown, you say DC. Downtown. DC. Downtown. DC. All right, y'all kind of got it, but we're going to switch it up now because we're in Asheville, and this is the Asheville Downtown Association. So when I say Asheville, you say downtown. All right? Y'all think you can handle that? I don't know. I'm a little worried. Hayden, I don't know. You guys might run me out of here, but we're going to try it anyway. When I say Asheville, you say downtown. Asheville. Downtown. Asheville. Downtown. When I say Asheville, you say downtown. Asheville. Downtown. Asheville. Downtown. All right, give yourselves a round of applause. See, I knew I liked it here in Asheville. Y'all got great energy here. You follow instructions so beautifully. I sincerely appreciate it. And I know I have a tough act to follow because we had an amazing conversation from your mayor. Thank you so much to Mayor Manheimer. Thank you so much to Commissioner Newman. And I got to tell you, I aspire in life to someday garner the same level of applause as Chief Lamb and Sheriff Miller. You all are doing something right because they love you here. So that's awesome. Thank you so much for all you're doing. We appreciate your work. We know it is not easy. So thank you for all your work and investment in public safety. I want to say a couple of things, and first I'll start by just wanting to just say thank you to Hayden for inviting me to be here today. In case you didn't know, this work to support downtowns and downtown associations, it's not just something that we're trying to build here in Asheville or that you guys are thinking about starting here. This is a movement that many cities around the world have subscribed to, and actually there's a body called the International Downtown Association that helps to bring resources and supports to the 1,700 urban place management organizations that exist around the world. Hayden and I actually had a chance to connect when we were selected for the International Downtown Association Emerging Leader Fellowship Program back in 2020. I believe we applied in 2019. And we were supposed to convene for an in-person immersive on how to engage in urban settings in March of 2020. So yeah, we didn't get to do the in-person portion of it. We became the first group to do it virtual, but we were able to connect in person in 2022. We're able to have that experience. And really just from the moment I met Hayden, she has always been just one of the brightest, most passionate, most dedicated professionals in this urban place management field. She did tremendous work in Denver, and I can think of no better person to be here in Asheville, bringing her expertise and her talent to bear right here in downtown Asheville. So can we give a round of applause to Hayden? And I will say this too, part of what we believe in as urban place management officials and folks who subscribe to this work, we always talk about inspired leadership. And I really am inspired by her leadership just even being here. I love the rebrand. I think that the logos and the look and feel are amazing. And I love the fact that you guys are here in this particular venue because part of what we do in this downtown work and as a business improvement district, you look for every opportunity you can to celebrate and to highlight the things that make your downtown great. And I don't know Asheville, this is my very first time being here, but I can already feel the love, the energy, the vibe, the funkiness, the fact that you have so many great breweries. There's so much here, the color, the vibrancy that is really being celebrated here today. And I think that's really important. It's part of the function of what bids do. So kudos to you all on that. So I'm here to talk about, and hopefully somewhat briefly, so I will try not to go too long here, but to talk about why bids are important. And I know, again, you all are in the throes of thinking about starting a business improvement district here in Asheville. And before I get into what I do in Washington, D.C., I want to share a little bit about just a sort of fun history fact about bids that I learned that I think is kind of interesting when you think about the role that bids play. The very first business improvement district in North America was actually in Toronto, Canada in 67. But the first in the United States of America was actually in, does anybody know the answer to this by any chance? You would get a free beer on me if you know the answer. Know who the first business improvement district was? Someone said Seattle. That is incorrect. No beer for you. I heard Denver. No, not Denver. I hear LA. I hear Portland. I'm going to give you the answer. Not Austin, but you're getting warmer. It was actually New Orleans, Louisiana. So New Orleans is the very first business improvement district. Oh, that's right. I know. Yeah, the mayor cheated on that. We will strike that from the record and reclaim my time. No, I don't know. Okay. Sorry. New Orleans, 1970, very first business improvement district in the United States of America. And there's this, I am not as good a storyteller as David Downey, who was the president and CEO of the International Downtown Association, but he told us the story of the beginnings of that business improvement district. And the reason they started a bid in New Orleans and felt it was so important to do that in 1970, what they realized was every year, a lot of tourists were coming to New Orleans for one particular event. Any guesses on what that event was? Yes, so every year Mardi Gras was attracting millions of people to the city. And as you can imagine, well, I learned today, maybe not here in North Carolina because you can't set up those taxes for food and beverage and hotel, but in many, many, many cities around the country, when you have major events that draw a lot of tourists, that is a huge boon for your city because of all of that tax revenue that is generated from those visitors. Well, here's the problem. In 1970, they were realizing that year after year in New Orleans, they were bringing all these visitors in, they were having all of this sales tax revenue that was generated, but then it was taking them almost 2 full weeks to recover from the impact of Mardi Gras. And it was actually offsetting all of that tax revenue. So it was a net zero in terms of what they were gaining. So when they began to look into why they weren't gaining that revenue, the number one reason why is that they had to shut down so many streets just to accommodate the parades and all the different things happening that it was often difficult to reopen them because the streets had trash everywhere, there were street barriers that the city was struggling to move, and there were just all these other things that were making it really, really difficult to get back to business quickly post-Mardi Gras. So when they founded that business improvement district in 1970, the mayor sat down with the new leader of that organization, and they said, your charge is to make sure that within 24 hours at the last party, last sip of drink that somebody takes at Mardi Gras, the city needs to be back open for business. And so they did that by really channeling almost all of their resources on clean and safe teams that would be out helping to make sure that immediately trash was getting removed and cleared out of the way. They hired people to help move those barriers for the roads and reopen the roads quickly. And they were able to achieve it in year one, within 24 hours, back to business, and the city began to experience that net benefit. So why a business improvement district? Because bids can really be helpful partners with cities to move mountains, do the difficult work, and help clear the deck for good things to happen. So that's why we love bids. It's why we have so many around the country, and it's where you can see some of that success. So a little bit about the work that we do in Washington, D.C. Our business improvement district was founded in 1997, and it came at a time when D.C. was really going through, well, starting to come out of the shadows of a really dark period. The 90s, we were really riddled by the crack epidemic, had a lot of disinvestment in the community, neighborhoods that had been shuttered, entire neighborhoods and blocks that had been shuttered by the MLK riots in the 60s, had never really bounced back. And so you had a lot of really deeply entrenched challenges throughout the city that people began to say, well, let's invest back into our downtown core and try to bring more residential and try to bring some more development. And so they thought it important to start a business improvement district to make sure people felt that downtown was clean again, that it was safe to be there, and that it was more hospitable. And so literally one of the first things that they did in 97 at the downtown DC Business Improvement District, they hired a team of 100 hospitality ambassadors who were stationed almost at every corner just to say hello, wave at people, and help point them in the right direction. So that was literally the job. It was make sure people feel safe and happy when they step off of from a metro stop, if they're coming on public transit, when they park their cars, they know that they'll see people in a uniform with a smiling face. that was the nexus of it. It emerged more so after that to become more of a clean and safe element. And you'll find that most bids around the country, clean and safe is at the core and the foundation. Keeping your downtown as clean as possible, making sure that people feel safe as they're moving in and around it, has always been sort of a key principle. And then it's evolved even more so as people began to delve more into economic development work, planning, placemaking, and activations work, beginning to market and put out the good news about the businesses that are opening, the types of good things that are happening from a business aspect, and then also thinking about how to advocate for the things that are needed and to help be influential in terms of how the city is making its decisions and how it's funding certain projects. So playing that advocate influence role and really working with the city to clear the deck like we talked about in that New Orleans example. For us at the Downtown DC bid, our Clean and Safe program has been at the heart and soul of our work since our inception. We currently have 85 what we call Safety, Hospitality, and Maintenance Ambassadors. SAMS is the acronym that we use. And I will tell you that team in many ways is the heart and soul of our organization, and it's the heart and soul of our downtown. People know to look for the folks in the red and black uniforms. They know that they're going to be constantly working to keep the area clean. We have over 1,300 trash bins and receptacles throughout our downtown core. If I didn't say this already, we represent about a 1 square mile set of space, about 140 city blocks with 538 buildings nestled between Union Station, which is our prominent train station, to the White House to the east and west, down to the National Mall to the south, and all the way up north to our convention center. So fairly large area and very impactful area. That 1 square mile in and of itself accounts for a $1.2 billion net fiscal impact for the city. So lots of commerce, lots of activity happening there. But that Clean and Safe program is foundational to the work that we do. I would say that role that they've played beyond the cleaning, so the clearing and cleaning of the trash is one piece. Being able to address things like graffiti in real time. So as a piece of graffiti comes up, our goal is within 48 hours it needs to be down. And so our team is relentless in terms of just moving through streets and documenting what they see, taking pictures of it, addressing the issue and tracking that it's been resolved. And then also just taking real concerted steps to help make the space feel safer. So being able to greet people, being able to help those who need assistance. Again, we're a big tourist city, so sometimes you can tell when someone's a little lost, and even though we have maps on our phones and whatnot, just being able to sort of perceive when someone needs some assistance really does go a long way. I think increasingly as the challenges around public safety have become an issue for us in DC, we are experiencing a really unprecedented shortage in terms of officers and recruitment. The role that we're able to play in partnership with the police in terms of just being extra eyes and ears and being able to communicate what we're seeing and experiencing on the ground level has helped the police to be able to dedicate resources in a more concerted way. And it's allowed us to really streamline the way that our businesses experience public safety and the supports that the city has to offer. Other thing that I would say, we love our ambassador teams. We consider ourselves to be a employer of chance. So we have many returning citizens who are part of our SAM Ambassador Corps. We have some individuals who were previously experiencing homelessness who are now a part of our core team. And we do invest a lot of resources in making sure that one, that all of the basics are met, that they have a great and living wage, that there's full benefits offered, full-time, full hours, making sure that there are specific resources in place to support them in terms of any assistance they may need. We have a dedicated career coach that we have on our staff who helps to ensure that if there's any issue that someone's trying to navigate, they have a supportive hand to help them through that. And we found just really great success in what that program has meant for us. And then because many of the folks who are on that team are really a part of the DC community, they have been instrumental in helping to play a role in our approach towards homeless outreach. And so there's been many, many opportunities where they've been able to connect with folks and help connect them to resources in a really real and tangible way. Other two things that I will say, and I want to move on a little bit quicker here, when I think about why a bid, the ability to really and like how you would present in the outside realm of what Asheville downtown is all about. I think there are many opportunities to do that, and that's something that bids are able to really help leverage, so that as people are visiting here, they feel connected to the space and can understand and feel that culture and that vibe just by nature of what they're seeing in and around the public realm as they're walking about. Other things that are incredibly helpful, I noted, and I might be the only person in the world that goes to a city and looks at their trash cans, but I love the trash cans y'all have here in downtown, very uniquely shaped. But making sure that things like that speak to the culture, to the architecture, that's really important. Thinking about your landscaping and the type of feel that you want people to have from your plant choices, your flowers, bike docking stations, making it easy for people to get around. We've been investing a lot in scooter docking in DC because scooters are a really popular way for tourists to move about, but we don't like when they're laying all over the place and getting in the way on our sidewalks. So that's been a space that we've been able to help the city to step in and begin to address in a really tangible way. But all of those things, and like what the mayor talked about, public restrooms is something we're working on as well. The outdoor dining piece, we actually were able to help the city streamline the application process by serving as the conduit for any business that wants to apply for an outdoor streetery. Our process takes 24 hours, whereas normally the city, just given the backlog of other requests, could take months to kind of get through that world. So we're able to help streamline a lot of those processes as well. Last thing I'll say about bids and why they're important and why I hope you'll consider moving one forward here in Asheville downtown. We believe in getting stuff done. We have a motto with the International Downtown Association. We get expletive done. I won't say it out loud because we're in mixed company here. But it's all about getting things done, moving through red tape, cutting through bureaucracy, really helping to push things to fruition. And when you have an organization that has inspired leadership like Hayden Plemons and people who care about what's happening here, and they wake up every morning breathing, sleeping, living what's happening in these streets in your downtown, you'll begin to see results just because you have that focused eye and that focused effort. And what I always think is really helpful, people say sometimes, and when they're sort of debating whether or not to do a bid, the argument that often comes up is that you don't want to duplicate services that the city is already doing. It becomes it can get in the way or can hamper what the city is trying to accomplish. But that is absolutely the opposite. They are designed and intended to help amplify what's happening, enhance services, and actually make it easier for the city to get stuff done. So as I was looking at all those tremendous projects that you all have planned, when you think about like who's going to maintain the Portland Loo that you're installing, that might be a space that a bid ambassador might play a role in someday. Right? Or as you're thinking through some of your guidelines for outdoor streeteries and dining, you might want to have ambassadors that are playing a role in helping to support some of that work. So there's just different ways that you can think about how you achieve your goals leveraging the work of a bid. I think with all that being said, the last thing I'll close on, I mentioned the influence piece and just what that means. For us in DC, I would be remiss not to mention that we are one of the North American cities that is going through some tremendous challenges post-pandemic. I mentioned that 1 square mile that we represent in a really prominent neighborhood, the nation's capital and the literal shadows of the Capitol and the White House. But that space, it's about 78% commercial office buildings. And right now we have about 27 million square feet of vacant commercial office space that is not being used. So that's a lot of space that is not being activated. And what that means, we've largely seen it's our daytime population, the workers that were previously coming into these buildings to work 9 to 5, they're no longer there, right? We're still at about 60% of where we were pre-pandemic levels. And I can tell you, if you come to downtown DC on a Monday or a Friday, you're probably not going to see anybody in the streets with you because almost everybody works from home Monday and Friday these days. And that has a real impact, not only on how you feel when you're downtown, it feels like there's less people and less vibrancy, but it also impacts our businesses. So ground floor retail vacancy is shooting up. Many businesses that were relying on that foot traffic for lunch business and other things can no longer sustain. And so we got to figure out a way to address it. I love that the commissioner talked about housing. One of our big approaches in DC is around a housing in downtown program. Really excited that with our mayor, we were able to launch a housing in downtown tax abatement program that's going to help clear the way for some more development to happen to convert downtown DC offices into residential buildings. And about 2 weeks ago, we were able to launch publicly a plan that we've been working on for several months that we're calling our Downtown DC Action Plan. And so I will tell you, the mayor came to us, and when you talk about influence and the role bids can play, the mayor came to us and said, can you help us think through, through engaging as many stakeholders as you can, big ideas to reimagine our downtown and give us a dollar figure that we can point our hats to and begin to invest in. And so we released this plan. It's a 5-year plan, $401 million in investment total over those 5 years, beginning with $39 million in this current fiscal year that we're moving through the budget process on now. And the mayor was incredibly excited by it. We have a lot of support from our city council, and we're actively moving through that process now. And so I feel really proud as a DC native to be a part of that work, and our team is incredibly passionate and excited to see what comes of that. But I think it's just, I would close in saying, there is so much possibility when you have a business improvement district that's invested in your community. And I think you really ought to give it some strong consideration. I think you all have all the ingredients for your downtown to soar. And I think the bid would be a great addition here in downtown Asheville. So again, thank you so much for having me. I sincerely appreciate it. I intend to get a beer before I get out of here. Thank you very much.
Jaron is so much taller than me. Thank you so much, Jaron, for those very, very kind words and for the inspiration and hopefully some education that you brought to us today. The work that Downtown DC Business Improvement District is really admirable. Is really admirable. I hope you are all inspired by everything you heard today from Mayor Manheimer and County Commission Chair Newman and Jaron, of course. And I hope you're wondering to yourself, what can I do to make downtown Asheville a better place today? The good news is I have 2 things you can do. The first, if you're not already, become a member of the Asheville Downtown Association. It's with support from our members that we're able to continue to advocate for our downtown stakeholders and grow our efforts around education, placemaking, activations, and more. If you're already a member, become a corporate sponsor and further that engagement and participation in our organization. One other thing you can do is show your support for this business improvement district in downtown Asheville. The Chamber has done fantastic work along with the Business Improvement District Steering Committee to bring a website, downtownashevillebid.com/support, where you can sign the petition to encourage our city council members to implement a business improvement district in downtown this year. Yeah, I think that's worth a clap. Let's do it. Thank you again so much for your time today. Please go out and enjoy this beautiful downtown Asheville day.